Hi everyone, my name is seanamomsen and I am finally back, but the wait wasn't that much longer because I'm trying to be consistent and I'm not hungover, so that's actually an added bonus. I'm back with another video, and today's video is going to be on how to deal with rejection as a trans girl, because I am a transgender Asian woman. This is, as much as this is going to be advice for you, the audience, it's going to be an advice for me as well, because I'm still learning to be learning how to cope with rejection when it's regarding this topic. Like rejection elsewhere, obviously, not obviously, but I'm a very strong person, strong character, and I can deal with rejection where it's to do with like modeling gigs, acting gigs, this and that and the other. But when it's to do with something personal, like not wanting to date me, not wanting to take me seriously because I'm trans, then that's still an issue for me, because I realize that I've missed out on quite a bit of normalcy because of that very reason. It's not to say that I'm happy, but I feel like it's like a self-limiting thing, which it shouldn't be, and I'm here to tell you that I still struggle with that, and that's just the human aspect and the normalcy I want to get across, that I too still struggle with that, even being quote-unquote desirable by men and women, like some women like me, I guess. But yeah, just I'm still a human being navigating this world, and I still deal with conflict, deal with rejection and crap. So over the 22 years that I've lived as I have authentically, well, as authentically as I could at certain parts of my life, I've learned that rejection comes in many forms. Some of it is not overt and some of it is like right in front of your face, and it's just about gauging how you recognize that, gauging how you should be treated, and understanding what's appropriate and what's not. Nobody should be made to feel lesser than. Nobody should be made to feel inadequate because of something that you can't help, like the color of your skin, like your sexuality, like your gender. You should want to be a good human being, and that's what should matter most. And if you are attracted to someone and that feeling and that attraction is reciprocated, they shouldn't reject you because of what society deems as abnormal, or what their family or their environmental circumstances deem as abnormal, and they shouldn't judge you based on other people's conceptions and their preconceived notions of your said circumstance, etc. So that's a bit of background of like how you should be treated and how to understand why you should be treated with respect, because a lot of people during life, during upset, during trauma, forget the basics, forget that it is not okay to be treated in a disrespectful manner, because you can be gaslit, you can have so many things, so many obstacles thrown at you, and adulting is just hard. Coexisting within a household where that's not acceptable, like I grew up in an Asian household, so that was certainly not acceptable, and I just came out of the other end of it stronger, because stuff like that makes or breaks you. And luckily I survived a lot of my trauma, and I'm still dealing with some like certain trauma to this day, but that's manageable and I'm aware of it. So get to the nitty and gritty, to deal with rejection as something that's deemed as different in our society, I always hone in back on the fact that, but why am I being secluded? Why am I being alienated? Is it because I'm a horrible person? I like to dissect things. I like to understand why they are saying that they don't want to be with me, that they don't want to associate themselves with me, that they block me altogether with no explanation given. I like to dissect things, and I like to understand things, and I like to see if have had a fault, something that's out of my character, something that is just malicious behind my actions which has made them reject me, or is it just simply because I'm transgender? I like to understand and get an understanding, and sometimes an explanation isn't given to you, which is fine, because an explanation isn't required sometimes by people, and it is and it isn't deserved. They don't owe it to you, but it would be a nice thing to do, especially if you get intimate with someone. Luckily, I've received a lot of times, like 9 times out of 10, people giving me an explanation, but the explanation, albeit I get an explanation, but it is quite shitty, for lack of a better word, because I am being segregated from other girls, and it's just always going back to the fact that I'm transgender, and that is a mindfuck for me, because they like me, they want to be with me, they're attracted to me, they like my personality before finding out, after finding out, but it's just literally just to do with the simple fact that I'm transgender, and that really hurts. But what I've found is that having a great support network around you to coax you and coach you back into like being the bad bitch that you are, realizing your worth, realizing that it's not acceptable to be treated lesser than, to realize that this world is so vast with billions of people in it, that you will find that person. If you want a relationship, if you want a companion, if you want an open relationship, you will find a lovely human being who loves you for who you are. It can seem like that's not a possibility with rejection after rejection after rejection. So it could be hard to believe and hard to swallow and hard to digest, especially if you're being rejected left, right and center. But believe me that you will find like-minded people, because not every person in this world, which is hard to believe, is not an asshole. Yeah, you will find like-minded people, and that's what helps, I find, like realizing that my current circumstances, my current whatever, is not a reflection on this whole world, is not a reflection of every human being in this world. And yeah, that I find that helps to deal with rejection. If it's to do with relationships, if it's to do with companionship, and it's revolving around rejecting you because of something that you can't help, I find that dealing with people that are just afraid to just own how they feel, that's a them problem. It's not a you problem, it's their issue. And whether they come to terms with that later on in life, and which I find, which is what I've received countless times, where men come back to me saying, oh my gosh, you've been such an important part of my life, even though I haven't met you, or I've had this one experience with you, you've affected me to realize that I was an asshole, I was this and that. It's not my job to educate, but I like to educate indirectly, directly, and I've found that I'm a good way to educate these men, these people. So again, it's a them issue, it's their issue that they're rejecting you because of something that you can't help. So that's what helps me realize that what I'm feeling, yes, I will embrace my hurt, but it's only temporary, and I feel like that really helps. And you need to realize that you are beautiful, you are good enough, and you deserve to be treated amazingly, with respect. Just treat others how you would like to be treated, and realize the basic fundamentals of what makes a good human being. And I find like going back to the basics is what is most important and what matters most. So yeah, I hope this helps. I know it wasn't that 101 like tips and tricks, but I think it's just like something that just came to my mind and I just wanted to share. And it's me being open and honest that it's still tricky for me. Yes, it really is, but that's just part of the process, that's just part of life. This is just one area in life where I deal with rejection not so well, because it is so personal and it's something that I can't help. Whereas like me not being good for a project, that's to do with my like talents and capabilities. That is something that I can work on, that is something I can improve on. But when it's something like being trans, that's just my identity, that's just who I am. That's not going to change, because it's just me, and I'm a good person. I'd like to be a good person, and I try to be a good person. And yeah, if you just like dissect things and analyze things as they are, then I help that, and I understand that that tends to work with dealing with rejection. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay bloody tuned and subscribe and like this video. Thank y'all. Bye.